Alright, y'all, God has really been working on me in regards to race separation and race relations. And I have two stories to tell. One's developing, they're both developing. So it's gonna be a ramble, but it'll make sense somewhere in there. First, I'm watching Black Sails on Netflix. I love me a good period piece. I'ma just say that because if it's a period piece, I'm in for all the seasons and I'm waiting for the next one. There's a scene where they run up on this that they're about to go get them for their cargo, and when they pull up, they're like looking through the little shoop situation, and they're like, the men are jumping overboard, and then the other captain grabs the little shoop and he's like, nah, they ain't jumping overboard, they're dumping their cargo. Well, what cargo is a human cargo? Slaves. So it was a slaver ship. Well, one of the men on the ship happens to be a former slave, so he's extra. I'm about to get in this nigga's ass once we get on this ship. So when he gets on the ship, he's like, yo, do you know who I am? And if you know who I am, you know you done fucked up, right? Well, I turned to Dre and I was like, well, how do we know what white man to hate? Because the white man that was dumping these men off of the ship was a white man. I may have already said white man. Y'all know I'd be losing my train of thought. The man who was a former slave was also a white man. So two white men had different spaces of compassion for humanity. So how do we know who to hate, right? Who do we know who to focus our anger on? And I asked a question on my page the other day. I was just like, make sure you're following As the Apple Turns on Facebook. I started the page. Make sure you're following for written. Like, if you like to read and you like to ponder and you like to think, and if you want this in written form, go and follow on As the Apple Turn on all social medias. Let me know. I'll get you a cookie or something. Anyway, I asked a question the other day. I was just like, as the descendants of former slaves, isn't it the same as, let me figure out how to ask this question. As descendants of former slaves, holding the descendants of former slave masters accountable for their actions, isn't that the same as holding a child accountable for their parents' actions? We all deal with that. I have been treated a kind of way because my family did not like my mother. No matter what they say, actions speak way louder than words. My family did not like my mother, and I will say that I am a product of my mother. I am my mother untamed, right? All of our children are us untamed. And so I was treated a certain way because I am my mother's child. And plenty of you know what it is to either treat a child differently because of their parents or their association, or treat a child different, or to be a child who is treated differently because of their parents or their association. Isn't that parallel? I'm not going to say the same because there's hurt either way, right? I'm a child. Why are you treating me this way? I'm not guilty of my mother's sins. You didn't even give me a chance. Isn't that the same as looking at a white person and saying, I don't like you, I don't like you because of what your ancestors did, and not even giving them a chance to prove us different? One white man was throwing Africans overboard, and another white man pulled up on his little, rowboats and was pulling those Africans out the water. So which white man do we truly have a problem with? Or should it be? Because that's just ignorant to me. It's ignorant. I get it. I've held these biases. I am being released from these biases. That's why God is working with me. I've held these biases. But how can we look at anyone as a whole? Just like every black person, skin folk ain't kinfolk. Every white person isn't the enemy. Now, I'm not saying I'm fully trusting. I don't trust nobody. I don't even trust the motherfuckers that live under my roof. I'm looking at everybody crazy. That's some more work for me to do. But I'm not saying put your guard down, but this automatic bias, raising our children to look at their children a certain way, you know, we gotta check that, because that logic brain, that just don't even make sense. Give somebody, regardless of how they present on the outside, an opportunity to show you who they are. Because even people who present on the outside as you present on the outside, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And every white I'm a comedian. I'm allowed to say that stuff. I'm a joke. Look, if I can't be myself, then who the fuck I'ma be? Like, that was a good joke. I liked it. Because I do believe y'all caucasoids. Let me just say, y'all's hate for us, our disdain for us, or intrigue of us is because of our divinity. And you wouldn't be intrigued by that which you are. So if you're intrigued by our divinity, that must mean you ain't got no divinity in you. That's okay. Because there's some fundamental things that you could be taught to be okay. And all this cross-pollination and stuff. Y'all got a little, 1/3 little drop. If you got a drop in it, maybe that drop can, permeate. So go and get your little DNA test, or however you figure out if you got some of that chocolate in your milk. And if you just got a drop of chocolate in your milk, then you got a drop of divinity in you. But if you ain't got not even a drop of divinity in you, don't use it. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this, because y'all too motherfucking sensitive out there. It's a joke.